Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. This Saturday is UFC 291, Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje 2 for the BMF title, and this is going to be my full breakdown and prediction. And I'll just start off by saying the BMF belt is completely worthless. It's completely meaningless. It is gimmicky, and it is WWE-esque. I want to forget about the BMF belt because I absolutely love this matchup. This is a rematch I really wanted to see, and this is a great fight. I mean, seriously, it is hard to find two fighters who are more exciting than Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje throughout their careers. I mean, these are two guys who are literally never in a boring fight, but not only that, they are the elite of the elite. They are excellent fighters. They are championship caliber fighters, and now they're fighting each other in a rematch of a fight that was already good back in 2018. And forget about the BMF belt. This has legit title implications for the lightweight division. You look at the lightweight division right now, Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira 2 at UFC 294 in October. And if Islam Makhachev wins that fight, he's going to need a fresh contender. He's never fought Poirier. He's never fought Gaethje. And you look at the rest of the division right now, Beneil Dariush just suffered a loss to Charles Oliveira. Gamrot lost to Dariush recently. Fiziev lost to Gaethje recently. So unless Alexander Volkanovski comes up again, which he may very well, you're going to have Poirier or Gaethje potentially challenging for the belt in 2024 against Islam Makhachev if he's able to defeat Charles Oliveira. Now, if Oliveira wins, you'll most likely have the trilogy between Makhachev and Oliveira. But if Makhachev wins, the number one contender is coming out of this BMF title fight. And I mean, just overall, this matchup, I'm so excited for this matchup. People have complained, and I understand, you know, they're saying, oh, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, and Michael Chandler are all just recycling through each other. Justin Gaethje just beat Rafael Fiziev, sent him to the back of the line. We'll talk about that fight in a second. But I understand Dustin Poirier, you know, he's been fighting Conor McGregor, and then he fought Chandler, and people wanted to see some of this new blood make their way up into the division. But I am very happy with this matchup. I'm very happy with the matchmaking by the UFC. I absolutely love that we are getting to see Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje 2, because if not now, when? Because they are both 34 years old. That's not crazy old, but that's getting up there in the division. And I think this could be one of those fights where it's that fulcrum point where one of these guys start heading downhill. You never know when it's going to happen. We never expected it. Going into that Justin Gaethje-Tony Ferguson fight, Tony Ferguson fell off a cliff afterwards. I picked Justin Gaethje, but I didn't think that was going to be the point where Tony Ferguson just turned into a dead body, you know, and that's sad to say. And both these guys are 34. They've taken a lot of damage. They've been in a lot of exciting fights. The loser of this fight, I mean, even the winner, if they come out with a lot of damage, this could be a moment in time where we're like pinpointing it 3 years from now. Oh, that's when Poirier started to go downhill. Oh, that's when Gaethje started to go downhill. So we got to appreciate this time period we're in, because this rematch is going to be crazy while it lasts. And it's important for the division. And these are two of the elite in the lightweight division. There's nothing not to love about this fight except the fake gimmicky BMF belt. Now, if you look at the tail of the tape for this fight, you have Dustin Poirier, who's 29-7, Justin Gaethje, who's 24-4. Poirier's ranked number 2, Gaethje's ranked number 3 in the official UFC official rankings. They are both 34 years old. Poirier is 5'9", Gaethje's 5'11". Poirier has a 73-inch reach, and Gaethje has a 70-inch reach. So a 2-inch height advantage for Justin Gaethje, but a 3-inch reach advantage for Dustin Poirier. So if you look at Justin Gaethje, 24 pro MMA wins, 19 by TKO or KO, 1 by submission, and 4 by decision. Of his 4 losses, twice by KO or TKO, and twice by submission. His last fight was in March of this year against Rafael Fiziev at UFC 286, and so many people counted Justin Gaethje out in this fight. They just counted him out. And I said going into this fight, I picked Rafael Fiziev. I thought he was going to win a decision, but I said I would not be surprised at all if Justin Gaethje wins this fight. And Justin Gaethje went out there, he lost the first round, but then in the second round, he started to come on strong and really started to pump that jab, and Fiziev started to slow down a bit, and Gaethje started to land some more big shots. And then the third round, I thought Gaethje clearly won. The third round, he lost like the first half of the third round, but then towards that second half, when Fiziev started to slow down, Gaethje really started to come on strong, busted him up with some big shots. I thought Justin Gaethje clearly won rounds 2 and 3. Some people debate and say Fiziev should have won. I thought Gaethje won clear as day. And for those people who've been complaining about, you know, the lightweight division, the top of the lightweight division just constantly fighting each other, Gaethje took on one of these up-and-coming guys and he beat him. and he beat him, and it was an exciting fight, and it was a great performance. And bare minimum, there is no way, shape, or form to frame that as a robbery. Gaethje's jab in that fight looked incredible. His uppercuts in the clinch looked incredible. And Gaethje looks like he's still improving. Both these guys are improving. His last fight before that was against Charles Oliveira at UFC 274, May of 2022. Lost to Charles Oliveira, had some moments in this fight, but gets dropped by Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira starts chaining submission attempts together, eventually finds a rear naked choke. The fight before that, a decision win over Michael Chandler. Got hurt early by Michael Chandler, but was able to recover, do some damage. Second round, almost finishes Michael Chandler. Third round, Gaethje wins the third round as well, but both guys kind of tired. The third round wasn't all that exciting. Great fight at UFC 268. One of the best fights, of 2021, if not the best fight of 2021. And then before that, loses to Khabib Nurmagomedov via triangle choke at UFC 254 in Khabib's retirement fight back in October of 2020. The fight was competitive in the first round. Some people even say, Gaethje landed some good shots. Khabib almost finished him at the end of the first round, took him down, almost submitted him, and then in the second round, caught a kick, took him down, submitted him with a triangle choke. Before that, fought Tony Ferguson at UFC 249. I still have PTSD from this fight. Just beat the brakes off of Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson had a moment where he rocked Gaethje at the end of the first round, but outside of that, he just beat up Tony Ferguson for 5 rounds. It was hard to see, and he finished Tony in the 5th round, which was a great win. I know people, talk about Tony Ferguson. He's a dead body, blah, blah, blah. But at this point in time, Tony Ferguson was in his prime. That was that point in time, where Tony fell off a cliff, where now we can pinpoint it years later, and that's what I was talking about earlier in this video. But before that, TKO win over Donald Cerrone, TKO win over Edson Barboza, actually a KO win over Edson Barboza, KO James Vick, who was literally calling him Homer Simpson before the fight. Then you get back to the Dustin Poirier first fight, which we'll talk about later in the video, where he lost via TKO. And then the other loss before that was against Eddie Alvarez in a crazy wild fight back at UFC 218 in 2017. Before Gaethje came to the UFC, he was undefeated. He fought like crazy in World Series of Fighting, had the craziest fights with Luis Palomino. Gaethje just had such an exciting career. It's been so much fun to watch. I've been watching him literally since, I think, 2012. I think I definitely tuned into this Ryan Cobb fight back in June of 2013. But I think I tuned into some of these fights before that. But I don't specifically remember. But Gaethje, one of the most exciting fighters in MMA history. His legacy in terms of excitement has been cemented. Now, if you look at Dustin Poirier has 29 pro MMA wins, 14 by knockout, 8 by submission, 7 by decision. Of his 7 losses, 2 by knockout, 3 by submission, 2 by decision, and 1 no contest. His last fight was against Michael Chandler at UFC 281. This was a competitive fight. Chandler had Poirier hurt early, but I rewatched it recently. I think the commentary was being a little bit crazy. Poirier was showing up and moving well up against the fence. He did get clipped with 1 big shot. He was kind of hurt. But then at the end of that round, he almost finished Michael Chandler badly. Hurt him with a standing elbow, was lighting him up against the fence. He would have had a first round TKO if it wasn't for Michael Chandler getting saved by the bell. Second round, Chandler went out there and fought smart. Just out-grappled Dustin Poirier. Took him down, controlled him, beat him up, just held him down. And then in the third round, Michael Chandler was looking for a big takedown, ends up getting reversed. Poirier ends up on top. Michael Chandler just tries to explode to his feet, and Dustin Poirier gets a rear naked choke in the third round. Amazing, fun fight. Absolutely love that matchup. That was back in November of last year. The fight before that, lost to Charles Oliveira, UFC 269, December of 2021. Great fight. Lasted 3 rounds. He was winning the fight, arguably. I don't remember exactly what I had it scored in terms of rounds. Charles Oliveira ducks under a punch, grabs the back of Dustin Poirier, gets a rear naked choke. The fight before that, beats the brakes off of Conor McGregor, 10-8s him, and then Conor McGregor breaks his leg towards the end of the round. So it stopped due to doctor stoppage, but Dustin Poirier was well on his way to winning that fight anyway. Fight before that, TKO'd Conor McGregor at UFC 257. Was just beating Conor up and then eventually finished him in the second round. The fight before that against Dan Hooker, absolute insanity. One of the best fights you will ever see. Go back and rewatch it. Incredible matchup. Incredible amount of damage taken by both guys. And then the fight before that, fought Khabib Nurmagomedov for the lightweight title. Got submitted via rear naked choke. He had some moments in this fight. He lasted till the third round. But unfortunately, Khabib Nurmagomedov, if he gets you down, he is finding his submission. What is crazy to me, if you go back essentially since 2018, the only 2 guys each of these guys has lost to is Charles Oliveira, and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, that's saying like the end of 2018 because I know Justin Gaethje lost to Dustin Poirier early 2018, which we're going to talk about that fight in a second, but that is crazy. The only guys both these guys are losing to are Charles Oliveira and Khabib Nurmagomedov, two of the greatest lightweights of all time. Now, if you go back to that fight in 2018, I don't want to put too much stock in it because I think both guys have improved. There's still versions of themselves that you can see in that fight, but I think both Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje have improved substantially. But that fight, Dustin Poirier was basically lighting Gaethje up on the feet, and then Gaethje was just chopping the legs and shelling up and chopping the legs and kind of getting Dustin Poirier to punch the arms while he would just continue to chop the legs. And Poirier was landing good shots. He would find moments, but then he would get his legs chopped. And Dustin Poirier was ripping to the body in that fight as well. And Gaethje was just kind of pressuring and crowding and just chopping the legs repeatedly. And then eventually, later in the fight, you have a big shot land by Dustin Poirier, an incredible shot. Hurts him badly in the 4th round, goes on to swarm him and finish him. Honestly, I thought it was a hair early, but it looked like Justin Gaethje was out on his feet. I think it was a massive right hand that rocked him badly. And I still see versions of themselves in 2018, but I think both of them have improved substantially. Justin Gaethje, since he suffered some of these defeats, particularly against, Dustin Poirier and Eddie Alvarez, since he suffered those defeats, he refined his approach a little bit. He's still a wild, chaotic striker, but he kind of limits his exposure a little bit more and fights a little bit more smart. We saw that in the Tony Ferguson fight. We saw that in the run-up until his lightweight title shot against James Vick and Edson Barboza and Donald Cerrone and Tony Ferguson. We saw that a bit in the Michael Chandler fight as well. Justin Gaethje's biggest weakness really is his BJJ. If he gets taken down, it's like he has no BJJ or submission skills at all. For Dustin Poirier, you go back and you look over his career. Again, losing to Charles Oliveira, losing to Khabib Nurmagomedov. His last loss before that was getting KO'd by Michael Johnson. That's all the way back in 2016. So that's the last time Dustin Poirier has been finished by KO or TKO. And then he also got KO'd at 145 against Conor McGregor. That's at the featherweight division. Does that really matter? Conor McGregor, big power puncher at featherweight. And that's all the way back in 2014. So, you're going back literally 9 years ago for the Conor McGregor KO, and you're going back 7 years for the Michael Johnson KO. I think both these guys have improved substantially. I'm really looking forward to this matchup, and I think no matter what, it's going to be exciting no matter how it plays out, but I'm really curious to see how both guys approach this fight. Do they just go out there and have an all-out war? I think both guys are going to be a little bit more measured. I think both guys are going to use their fight IQ a little bit more. But the way I see this fight playing out is I see Justin Gaethje trying to just brutally chop the legs of Dustin Poirier over and over and over again, while Poirier looks to use his very clean and technical boxing to land on Justin Gaethje and rip to the body and rip upstairs. And really, this fight can really go genuinely either way. But for my official prediction, I am going Dustin Poirier 3rd round TKO. I just think Dustin Poirier is just a cleaner boxer here. I think he's the cleaner boxer, and I think he's more well-rounded as well. I think Dustin Poirier, in those tight exchanges, you can see in the chaos against Michael Chandler, when he's pinned up against the fence and Chandler's being super explosive and winging bombs, and I think he's more explosive and more powerful than Justin Gaethje. Dustin Poirier, you could see his eyes and his movement, and he was just moving so well with those shots, and I just think he's already the cleaner striker than Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje has been exposed time and time again to the body. We've seen Eddie Alvarez attack his body in their fight with some knees. And Dustin Poirier, I think he's going to be ripping body shots. And also, you look back at Dustin Poirier's career recently, he fought Michael Chandler, who throws a lot of leg kicks and heavy leg kicks, and was even abusing the leg of Poirier in that fight. Same with Charles Oliveira, same with both recent Conor McGregor fights. And Poirier has shown to be a little bit better at checking those kicks. He checked the kick against Conor. He was checking kicks against Michael Chandler. I think he even checked the kick against Charles Oliveira. But a couple times where he's turning that shin out or just lifting up his leg to check the thigh kick. But Dustin Poirier, I think he's still going to eat a lot of leg kicks against Justin Gaethje, because Justin Gaethje is probably the best leg kicker in the UFC. But I think Justin Gaethje is going to continue to chop that leg. Meanwhile, Dustin Poirier is going to be working in the body, landing body shots, landing upstairs. And Dustin does this thing where he'll throw, multiple shots. He'll throw 5, 6 punch combinations, and he'll throw 4 of them at like 30% and then 50%. And then boom, he'll come out of nowhere with like a 100% power shot. So he just kind of has you playing a guessing game, and then he mixes it to the body well. He doesn't use his kicks as much as Justin Gaethje, but he does mix in the leg kicks as well. He does mix in the body kicks as well. And also, Dustin Poirier has a grappling advantage. He mixed in takedown attempts in their first fight. He never really committed to looking to actually take him down, but he mixed them in there. And if he gets Justin Gaethje down, Dustin Poirier has the jiu-jitsu advantage because Justin Gaethje doesn't have any jiu-jitsu at all. So I think Poirier is just a cleaner striker. I think he's going to invest in the body shots early. I think he's going to be landing upstairs. Meanwhile, Justin Gaethje is just going to be shelling up and eating shots and eating a lot of shots on his forearms and just leg kicking. And that can be very effective because it can limit the movement of Dustin Poirier. But I just see Dustin Poirier landing the better shots. Dustin Poirier has a great fight IQ. You know, I doubted him going into the Conor McGregor rematch back at UFC 257 because I said, oh, he's not going to use the grappling. He went out there and used the grappling. I think in this fight, he will go out there and mix in the grappling just to keep Justin Gaethje guessing. And if he gets him down, I thought about picking Dustin Poirier via submission because, again, Gaethje has no jiu-jitsu. So I could see Poirier getting a submission in this fight. I could see him rocking Gaethje on the feet and then getting like a rear naked choke. I see Poirier having far more avenues to victory. I think Poirier, you know, can win via KO, TKO. I think that's his most likely path to victory. He can win via submission. He can win via decision. Justin Gaethje has to win via KO or decision. And granted, he may very well be able to do that, but I just think Poirier is so durable. I don't see Justin Gaethje getting him out of there. I know Poirier's been finished before, but it's been a long time. It's been since 2016 against Michael Johnson. And for Justin Gaethje, you know, I know it's been a while for him. He hasn't been finished since 2018, but I think Poirier is just a little bit more durable than Justin Gaethje. I think Poirier is the bigger fighter. I think he has more power. I think he has the cleaner boxing, and I think he has the better jiu-jitsu. So I have to go with Dustin Poirier in this fight. And also, I know people are going to make a lot about the stamina, and they're fighting at elevation, and Justin Gaethje trains at elevation. But when have we ever seen Dustin Poirier wilt or gas in any fight? If he hurts you, he will not let you off the hook. He will throw 20 punch combinations in the first round, and you're thinking he's going to gas out, and he never gasses out. So I don't suspect that Poirier will gas. Maybe he will. Maybe this elevation will actually get to him. But I just don't think Dustin Poirier, who's never had problems with his gas tank, I don't think all of a sudden he's going to gas. So what I see happening in this fight, I see a very competitive fight where Gaethje's chopping the legs, but Poirier's investing in the body and landing upstairs with some good hooks and some good punches and pumping the jab as well and landing some kicks to the body as well. I see Gaethje kind of landing, you know, some good jabs and some uppercuts. Justin Gaethje loves to throw the uppercut. If Justin Gaethje hurts Dustin Poirier in this fight, I think it will be close range with the uppercut. But I think Dustin Poirier, just a little bit cleaner boxing, a little bit better head movement, a little bit better footwork, a little bit better jiu-jitsu, well, a lot better jiu-jitsu. And I just think Dustin Poirier has so many paths to victory, I have to pick him. And I think as the fight goes on, Justin Gaethje tends to open up a little bit more and tends to get a little bit more tired, and he's throwing hooks and he's just getting a little bit more sloppy. He doesn't throw a lot of straight punches. You know, in the Fiziev fight, he was throwing nothing but looping hooks up until the late second round when he really started pumping that jab and started having success. So I think Dustin Poirier is just going to be landing those shots. He's going to be ripping to the body. He's going to get Gaethje kind of dropping his hands a little bit to defend the body. He's going to get clipped upstairs in the third round, hurt badly. Dustin Poirier is going to swarm him up against the fence and finish him in the third round via TKO. I have to go Dustin Poirier, third round TKO. I think it's going to be a fun fight. I think both guys have an opportunity to win this matchup. I think either guy can truly win, but I'm pretty confident that Dustin Poirier gets it done. I just like his striking so much more, and we know this fight is going to be primarily contested on the feet, and if it does go into any grappling realm, Dustin Poirier has a significant advantage. So Gaethje's not getting him out of there, unless somehow he leg kick TKOs him, which I don't think Poirier is going to be a guy to get leg kick TKO'd. I think he'll absorb those shots and just deal with it and switch stances, and he can fight out of both stances. He'll throw combinations and switch stances mid-combination. So Dustin Poirier, just more well-rounded, a little bit better everywhere in my opinion. And outside of the leg kicking attack of Justin Gaethje, I think it's going to be a close fight. I think it's going to be an exciting fight, but I have to go with Dustin Poirier, third round TKO. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe and check the description down below. I put my entire UFC 291 playlist, including my full card prediction video in that playlist if you want to go check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.